All right, we're live.
Hello.
So does everybody just want to introduce their channels and then say what they felt about their reread?
Yes. I can start. I'm Jessica from Pizza Books. I will admit I only did half the reread. I just ran out of time. So I read ACOTAR, but I didn't get to ACOMAF yet. And I forgot a lot. I mean, I haven't read it since only 2 books were out. So I read this in 2016. And I remembered Feyre and Tamlin's romance being a lot more romantic than it was on my reread. Like, I was totally into Tamlin when I first read it, and this time I'm like, why did I like them together? So that's my reread.
Okay, I'm Carrie from Books for Romance, and I have been a Sarah J. Maas fan. I think I was talking with Christy about this for like a decade. So I've done a few rereads of this, and yeah, I will always love all these books. Five stars. Sorry for not giving ratings yet, but 5 stars. I love them.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Hey, April. How's it
You're
going?
here.
Of course this happens, right? When I've used my tablet before, but of course it's just not working today for some reason.
Hi, everyone. All right, who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
So I'm Christy from Christy Reads a Lot, and this is like I've reread the series multiple times. I just reread them last year, so like they're fresh in my mind, and yeah, I just like love this series as a whole. So it's always a fun time to reread.
All right, April, what are your thoughts?
I go. Yeah, so my name's April, happily ever April, and I've read this like probably 5 or 6 times, mostly on the audiobooks. While I like the graphic audiobooks, I like the originals better. For some reason, it's just more emotional for me, and I really like those better.
I completely agree.
I think I've only read them physically once.
This is actually my first time doing the audios for any of hers, and I did the graphic audios, and I really liked them though. Like I was telling a couple friends, I was like, this was exactly what I want. Like, I don't care about a TV series, adaptation, or movie. Like, this was everything I wanted because it's exactly the words I want to hear. You know, I can still picture like my own people, but it had the sound effects and the music, and like some of those scenes, like it really pulls you in and like grabs your emotions, like even more, like having all that dramatic, ness to it. So I really liked the graphic audios.
I'm actually curious, what do you guys think about the TV show? Like, are you guys excited or?
Me and Christy had a long talk about this the other day.
I'd rather them not do it, honestly.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I think it will. I don't know.
It will?
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. Like, if they do the next Twilight, then I'm like all for it. You know, like put the budget in. They actually put the production in. They listen to Sarah. Then I'm for it. If they're going to like be the next Bridgerton and like look at the cover and then throw it out, then I'm going to be like, no.
Well, didn't they just cut the budget?
They did. Yeah.
I think they just cut the budget. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, whatever. If it comes out, I'll totally watch it, but I'm not holding my breath.
This is exciting. The graphic audio for A Quarter Frost and Starlight is being released in March.
Yay. Oh, nice.
They did Mortal Instruments twice, so I don't see why they wouldn't do ACOTAR, no matter what the budget is. So, and I wouldn't say Twilight had a big budget for book 1.
Oh no, it had no budget. It was like literally this small. I'm thinking like Twilight, like the last movie.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to live up to what's in my mind. So I have no been watching it. So, but I was curious.
Yeah, I'd rather they just don't, so I don't have to think about it.
People were.
I almost never read the books before a show, so I don't know. To me, they're 2 different mediums, so I don't really compare them ever. Because right now I'm watching The Last of Us, and it's so good. Like I'm just excited for it to be on there.
I'm loving that show as well.
Yeah, they did really good with that.
The book.
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us was a
video game.
Oh.
But it's like a book, honestly. Like it's one of the best stories in video game ever.
Christy, what speed did you listen to the audios on?
Like what I normally do, so like 3, which sometimes I'd slow it down to 2, but like, yeah, it didn't mess with the music and stuff, which I was worried about with the graphic audios.
I didn't try them.
Yeah.
I tried them. I couldn't get past 2. I just feel like it was like the sound effects felt messed up. But I also love the original audio, so.
Like I speed up everything I listen to, so I'm used to like music being sped up, like when I watch videos and like even on Netflix. So like I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
You watch Netflix sped up?
Yeah.
How? Like, where's that setting? I don't even know how to do that.
I know they have it, like, I think when I watch it from my phone.
Okay.
If anybody wants to try the graphic audios, they're on Hoopla. So just throwing that out there for everybody.
Yeah.
But aren't they all in 2 parts?
They're so yeah, like book
3
1
parts.
is
Like
2
the third
parts.
one's 3
The
parts.
third one's 3 parts. Yeah.
I mean, the original audiobooks are like
Which I
20
think like
hours
most of mine were on Libby. Yeah.
They're also on Scribd.
So don't pay for them. You can get them for free.
All right. So what did you guys think of Tamlin in book 1? Like, did your opinions change on your reread, or like what was your thoughts?
Sorry.
I didn't realize how rushed the romance was. Like, to page 200, he's like, I love you. I was like, it's been 200 pages. Like, where did this just come from? So, but I remember when I barely read them, I was like swooning over him. I was like, oh my gosh, they're just amazing together. But on my reread, I was like, no, I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel like he barely talks to her, like ever. And he's just kind of a wet blanket when he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, the very first time.
God.
Yeah. The very first time I read this series, I wasn't like a fan of, I didn't get the hype because I was like, what is this? Like, this isn't a romance. Like, who is this guy? But then once I realized like he wasn't the main guy, and then I like loved it. And so now upon reread, like I always enjoy it just because I'm like, I know this guy's like not important.
So I ruined it for myself because while I was reading the first book, I looked up fan art and I was like, why is she with this guy with bat wings in like every single picture?
Yeah.
And then lo and behold.
I feel like it's impossible to read it now and not know.
Right.
Unless you're just like not on social media at all. But
I have to admit, I liked Tamlin. Like, I like a good Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I like Tamlin. The only thing I didn't like about him, especially in book 1, was when she had the option to get out of that trial. He ended up just making out with her instead of like escorting her out. I'm like, what are you doing? You could save her.
Or do something. Just do something.
Do something. And he didn't. So, but I will be always that person that wants to see Tamlin in the future.
Do you
I
want
think
to
they're perfect for each other in the first book, though, honestly. Like her and Tamlin, in my opinion, is that they are both incredible enablers. Like she enables her sisters to be lazy. She never talks to them. She never gets upset with them. And the one time that she is like, freaking help me out and chop wood to Nesta, Nesta does go and chop wood. You know, she allows them to be lazy and to not help out. And then when she goes to Tamlin, Tamlin does the same thing. When he finds out she doesn't like know how to read or write, he doesn't offer to help her learn. He does it for her. He's like, I'll send a letter for her. You know, I'll help out your family for you. Like they totally enable each other to just like, like, I don't know. That's why I think they're perfect for each other in the first book. But then when she starts finding her voice in the second book, that's why they don't work for each other anymore.
Yeah, which like she has that whole speech or thinking thing to Reese in the second book, like how she's looking back on their relationship, like they were perfect for each other at the time, and like, yeah, they just didn't know better, and like now that she's grown and is done, like he doesn't fit for her anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, my ship totally sailed. I'm not saying that, but like with her for Feyre, like she was also the youngest. So imagine telling your older siblings what to do. So in her defense, you know what I mean? Like that would be tough.
Well, and Nesta's kind of hard to like approach too. She's not like she's an approachable character.
She's her own beast.
Yeah, I think Under the Mountain changed Farrah so much that it just her and Tamlin didn't work after that.
Yeah.
I don't think I even bought that they were really in love though. I feel like it was more like convenience. Like, oh, she's the only one that like was leading towards breaking the curse, like doing all that, and he like liked that about her. But I don't buy that they were like the love of each other's lives. He felt like Isaac did in the beginning. Like Isaac was her person. Now Tamlin's her person. I don't know.
Yeah, they just like clung to each other without like love there.
Right. It was an easier sell if you just read book 1, but once after book 2 happened, you're like, oh no, there was no love here.
I do feel bad for him after knowing what happens in the 3rd book. So I'm like still like a little tender towards him. I'm like, I mean, I still feel bad for you and everything you go through.
But I don't hate Tamlin at all. I just don't care about him.
He's also pretty bad in the 3rd book. Like some of the things he says, I feel like.
Totally.
But doesn't he, it's been a while since I read it, but like, doesn't he, I don't want to spoil anything, but he like
he does.
helps them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He makes bad choices.
But he's hurt though. He's Jessica.
Yeah,
he's totally hurt. Yeah.
He's very reactive and he lashes out when he's hurt. Like anytime he's hurt or questioned or anything, he lashes out.
Right.
Which is like the dangerous part. Yeah.
But it's like a trait that we could overcome in the future.
I honestly forgot about this whole mask plot line when I went back and I was like, oh yeah, they're cursed. Like it goes
Sorry.
They did explain it though as to mask his beauty so that like they didn't fall in love with him for his looks for the curse. So
that and the blight. Like they keep saying the blight, but what was the blight? Just that nothing grows or what? Like I don't understand what the blight was.
I think it was Amarantha. It was like they didn't want to say it was like this person, so they just said
I don't think they were allowed to say who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm rushing through the Scott comments.
No, that's okay.
That's his personality.
I do almost feel bad for Tamlin in the 2nd book in the beginning because honestly, they're dealing with so much trauma. Her and Feyre and Tamlin, so much trauma, and they both react differently to it. And then Rhys has a leg up in the situation because he can read her mind. Like he's already like one up above him because he knows what Feyre needs, and Feyre doesn't need to be protected; she needs to be free.
How did you guys feel about Rhys Under the Mountain? Because I know a lot of people feel like he wasn't, like he kind of manipulates her. I disagree with that. I thought it was fine. But as far as like when her arm is hurt, he kind of like hurts it more in order for her to get the bargain or make the bargain with him.
But like he's doing it for her benefit.
In the long run, agreed.
Like
I think he's brilliant.
Everything he does is to help her. So like he knew that Claire wasn't her. And he like acted all aloof about it. He's like, I don't know humans, but you're like, no, he does. Like he's saving her the entire time.
Yeah.
So you don't really catch that the first time around because if you didn't know that Rhys was actually like,
hey, I love a charming jerk. So
same. He worked for me.
I have a question for everybody. Did everybody guess where it was gonna go? Like, did anybody guess like, oh, this Rhysand, like he should end up with her? Did anybody, for the first readers out there, did anybody guess that?
I mean, he was more intriguing in the first book, and I was like, ooh, I'm more interested in this guy. Like when he first comes to the like spring, like whatever that fire thing they're doing, you know, that like I was like, ooh, he's more intriguing than this Tamlin guy, but like I didn't know where the series was going. My very first read.
Right.
But that makes me feel nervous for any other series she writes now because I know she likes to do this, and I'm very concerned about Crescent City. I'm like,
I hope it happens with Crescent City. I am all about it.
No,
they're safe. They're totally safe.
I don't want to be safe. I did the same. Yeah, I told Christy
they're
that
totally
too,
good.
like 2 days ago. I was like, I don't think this ship has sailed.
No, they're
both
good.
of her series. They start with someone
and they end with someone.
Yeah.
I haven't read the 2nd book in that yet, but I'm here for the ride. I almost don't care who she ends up with.
Oh, I love her.
Necessary relationship with Yoda. This is true.
I like that Rhys, he gives her choice, but he almost forces her to make the choice. Like Tamlin will just be letting her live her life and paint for as long as she wants. But Rhys is like, no, what do you want? Say it, speak it, do it. And whatever you want, that's cool, but just at least say it.
I mean, to be fair though, with this comment, like that's life though. Like people fall in love, fall out of love, fall in love again. Like,
yeah, it felt very like first love. Like,
yes,
you know, they're not end game. Like,
she made it more realistic.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's like your first relationship.
Yeah,
you think you're in love, but
exactly
you're not.
That
You're
young
not.
love.
Yeah.
It just
And then when you find your real love, like, then you're like, oh God, I was such an idiot.
Yeah. Disagree.
You better be safe.
I almost don't even remember Hunt. Like, what did he do? I need to watch some catch ups or something.
I have a recap video. Watch that. I'll recap.
Okay. Because I'm not reading that thing again. I'm just not.
I told him this. I saw this on TikTok. Can you imagine if Claire's actually a terrible painter and like Reese walks into that house and there's like stick figures everywhere?
I mean, didn't they like? She said, "Oh, I'm not that good." So I was like, "Well, what if she's really not that good?"
I imagine like stick figures all over the place.
Yeah.
I just imagine like a kind of not great, but kind of like a mediocre painter.
I mean, she doesn't have a lot of practice.
Right. I mean, she didn't get paint.
No, she only had a small amount of paint in her house with her sisters and brothers,
Right.
Her father.
Well, doesn't she just draw like stars and eyeballs everywhere? Like she's doing anything fancy.
Where did she learn how to draw people?
Okay. I think I'm caught up with comments. They like are loading really weird here.
And so I wouldn't have wanted the Tamlin thing dragged out more than one book.
Yeah, she did that well, where she cut it after one.
Yeah.
I like how feisty Tamlin got at that's another book, so never mind.
Yeah, in the third book, agreed. I also like how feisty Tamlin got. Who's everyone's favorite inner circle character?
That's like picking a favorite child. You can't do that.
Exactly. That's hard because they're all so good.
But I'm gonna go with Cassian because again, I like a jerk.
Oh, I'm Az all the way.
I'm 100% Az.
Oh, my shadow singer.
See, I'm just impatient. I don't feel like getting through all those layers. I like someone who's blunt and forward and makes me laugh.
Well, I like the quiet, silent type. I talk enough for the both of us.
I think I like Cassian, but I also like Amryn.
Oh, I love Amryn.
Amryn's great.
But I did appreciate Lucian's character more in this book, though.
Yeah.
Like rereading it.
Yeah.
Seeing it.
In the first book.
They talk about the Morgan too. How she's
what is her power? Her power is truth, but like, are we ever explained exactly what that is?
She's the Morgan.
Right. So she's like the ultimate fighter. Like I guess she's like ultimate combat. I don't know. That's what I got from it. What did you get, Christy?
Kind of the same, I think.
Right.
I agree with this. Different series.
I mean, they just didn't tell each other. I wouldn't say they lied, right? They just didn't tell each other things.
Withheld proof. They just didn't talk.
Lying by omission. They just didn't tell each other things.
Nesta and Cassian. I did not like Nesta in book 1 or 2. Like prior to reading Silver Flames, I had no interest in Nesta.
But see, like that's the thing. These first books, we're only getting Feyre's point of view of her older sister. So like it can't be like the actual representation of Nesta. And like I just love Nesta so much. So
I also love Nesta.
Yeah.
But we did see like a little bit of a nice side of her when Feyre went back to their house and like she's like, listen, Nesta, like you have to listen. And she did. And so she's like not nice, but like
And
She's
also,
guarded.
especially the only one that went after her in book 1. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes.
so
And the
that's
fact
why
that
it's
she was
resistant. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was strong enough. I don't know if this was what you're gonna say, to like not be glamored. I was like, that is so cool. Like, she is so strong, and
just by being stubborn. Like, isn't that what they said? Like, she just decided she wasn't getting glamored.
Right.
Yeah.
She's just resistant to everything, and she wants to do her own way and her own thing. But when push comes to shove, she understands what's important.
Yeah. And
My
I think, like,
favorite-
as the series goes on, like, or the first book goes on, like, when she goes back after she spent some time in the spring court and stuff, like, or the summer, whatever court, and she goes back and, like, she starts to realize, like, I think that's when we start seeing that Nesta is not as single-minded as, like, Farrah first thought, you know, like, she is willing to help them. She always is looking after Elaine. Like, she cares in her own way.
My favorite part to Nesta is how fierce she is. She went in that cauldron and she was just like, screw you guys, I'm taking it all.
With the
Not
voice
to me.
gesture.
Yeah, that was bomb. That's my favorite part to Nesta.
Whereas Elaine,
Oh yeah, I don't know how I feel about Elaine.
I can't with the flighty head in the clouds Elaine. I just can't with her.
I like her. I think she's just
Elaine.
young and she doesn't know a lot, like, about everything yet. And I think there's definitely going to be more to her, like, as it goes on.
She reminds me of like Luna Lovegood or whatever that girl's name is.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That just drives me up the wall.
But like you guys talked about enabling, like that's what Nesta and Farrah did to her. Like that they let her be that way. So
Yes,
like she
they
never
did.
had to.
Yeah.
Like, they baby her even though she's not, like, the baby of the family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They protect her.
Because she's so sweet.
So did she say who gets the next book in this series?
I don't know. I've never heard.
Who will get the next book?
I will say I
Well-
hope it's Azrael. Like, I will say that.
I hope it's
him.
Azrael.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be Elaine though. Isn't Elaine with?
Yeah. Do they follow the sisters or do they follow everyone else? I think they follow the sisters, right? So it would have to be Elaine.
Elaine's book.
Yeah.
And I
love
know she's
Silver
writing
Flames, too.
Crescent City 3, but I don't know when she's going to come out with the next ACOTAR book.
Honestly, I feel like my story of us like looking on the log, like waiting for SJM to just announce anything holds true here. Come on, give us something.
She's the queen of Easter eggs, so she'll just drop at little teeny bits by bits, even in the books and in real life.
It's just frustrating how long it takes.
Oh, 100%. What, 3 years? 4 years?
When did Silver Flames come out? That came out like 2 years?
A while ago.
It was a while
Yeah.
because
It's been 2
we did
years
Crescent
now.
City too.
Crescent City 2 came out almost a year ago.
Last year.
Over a year ago, yeah.
Right. So
And
then
Silver
it's
Flames
2
was the
years
year
to
before.
season 3. And then after
We're not
that,
getting the next book until fall.
yeah, that's I think we're gonna drop
I
it.
don't know
In
if that's
fall.
been officially announced.
It's
That's
not, but
2021. So
we're gonna wishful thinking here for all of us.
I'm thinking she's
Yeah.
like a V.E. Schwab, where it's like every 5 years. Maybe.
I'm happy. When I read the series, all the books have been released besides Silver Flames. Did you guys read
Yeah,
it when they
same.
were like still coming out?
They were 2 out when I picked them up. So
I can't imagine getting to the end of A Court of Mist and Fury and not being able to like immediately go into ACOWAR with that
Yeah,
ending.
like the first 4 were out when I started reading them.
That was me. I couldn't go in immediately because I had to wait with 2 cliffhangers actually. The one in their Throne of Glass series, book 5, if you guys know that, and then also book 2. I just was waiting.
I haven't read Throne of Glass series.
Oh.
You should. It's really good.
I love
See, I get really intimidated by long-standing series that are like just like I don't have time for that. But I know I will love it. Like I just know I will love it. So then I put it off forever.
Yeah, I thought Crescent City 3 was the next one coming out.
It is.
yeah, I
is,
think she
yeah.
said that. But what would make her go to Crescent City books back to back? And not
Well,
I think
I
it's
can't
just her
answer that
first
question.
series.
I think that's with the ending of the.
Yeah, I was saying, I feel like that we get into spoilers and stuff.
I don't try not to say anything.
okay.
I will say reading these, like I understand why so other authors and publicists use J. Maas sell and say, oh, a fan of this, you'll love this, because it's just, honestly, this is like a classic. Even though it's very new, it definitely will be just a classic fantasy romance.
She set the bar really high.
She did. Hi, Crystal.
I couldn't, like, I definitely couldn't wait. Like, I love a good cliffhanger, but these are the type of cliffhangers where you're like, oh, I need to read the next one.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough. Because like I would not want to wait for that next book.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how like I didn't remember ACOTAR being that short. Like, and like the files were only over 100 pages. I was like, she does not write like this anymore. I don't know what is up with that, but it was very short.
Now it's like 800 pages.
And the trials were the best part in that book.
I know. I was at that part. I was like, the trials haven't started, and I literally have 100 pages left. How did this all wrap up in 100 pages? It did, but
the worm and the mustache twirling Amarantha. Like,
yeah,
that's the best.
Did you guys have favorite scenes? I mean, in the first book.
I know. I have a lot in the second book. The first book is a little tough. I don't really have like a favorite. Maybe Calamai, because we're introduced, but
yeah.
It's so funny. I have a favorite like when I just read the first book, and then I have a favorite after I've read the second book, but like the favorite scene was in the first book. Does that make sense? Like yeah. I liked when she threw the javelin thing at the dress. Like that was my favorite scene in the first book. But then after reading the second book, my favorite one is when he went away. Like he was willowing away and his eyes grew wide and then he just kind of like left. So it was so funny how it's after you read the series, you have different favorites.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I went back and reread I reread the first book after I got to chapter 54 the first time I was reading it, because I like wanted to see all of those things that he's talking about.
In the first book, it's such a small scene, but the breakfast after they first kissed, her and Tamlin, and then Lucian is like, oh, God.
That was funny.
Get out of here. Like, that made me, like, laugh out loud. Like,
I love Lucian. Oh, my God.
Yeah, me too. I love Lucian.
Me too.
I think he gets stuck between everyone so much. Yeah. Like, he doesn't know what to do. He's like, oh, this is my friend, but also I should do this. And it's like, you know,
I forgot that he hesitated to help her though when she was going. I think it was like catching the cereal or whatever. And he's like, I heard you scream, but I waited for a sec.
Well, she killed his friend.
Yeah, but the friend
we learned that was like for a purpose. Like they sent him to be killed, so why is he mad?
Yeah, agreed.
Exactly.
That whole thing made me mad. I was like, they're all mad that she killed their friend. That was like the whole thing. And then they're like, but like he was sent on purpose. That was annoying.
I think Lucian's going to be the next book.
You do?
I think so.
What?
For not Kristen. I'm missing Court of Thorns and Roses. I think he will be the next book. Oh, except Az. Never mind. Maybe Az will be the next book. I don't know.
I like chapter 54 more than 55. I love chapter 55, but 54, every time I read it, I cry.
Well, it's so good. And it's almost like Sarah J. Maas like just wrote down all the Easter eggs and was like, okay, check.
Yeah.
As she writes this giant paragraph for it.
That's why the graphic audio was so good, because like it played over those other moments that he's talking about. So it like shows the little part, or tells you the little part when he's like, you know, oh, there you are. Like, I've been looking for you. So like it replays all those moments. And like, it was just, it hit so good, that chapter.
Right.
I might have to listen to that now.
I do love the graphic audios. It's just for me, it like gets a little overwhelming in places. So I can see that. And something about the original, I mean, the original narrator, she's like one of the best in the business, right? Like she just grabs me. She's so emotional.
Jennifer Akita, I think is her name.
Yeah.
I never did the regular audios for these ones.
It's just nostalgic for me. I will say though, I was listening to my husband listening to it at 1x speed, and she does talk very slow because I have that at 3.5, and I normally listen at like 2.53.
See,
I usually do 2, and I was at 2.5 just because I have reread these so many times.
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't think I'm more of like a fight scene girl, and those water wolves.
Oh yeah, I love that
Epic.
scene.
Mm-hmm.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Chapter 54 broke me in the best way.
Yep.
when he's talking about his past, like that's what gets you, like his trauma and what he's gone through, and
everything he like sacrificed for
yes.
Polaris.
I mean, there's so many good scenes in that book, but I also like the one where they're at the inn and right before they get into the bed, like when they're just chatting and they're finally like confessing to each other, like what they want more of in this relationship, whatever relationship that they're having, this playful banter that they actually like want each other. Like, I like that too.
That's why it's sad rereading ACOTAR and seeing how they feel about him in the night court. And you're like, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun.
Like,
and then when Reese is being like so mean to Tamlin and Lucian, when you reread it, you're like, yeah, you deserve it. Like, I was totally all about it that time.
I'm gonna say I almost went to, like, was like justice for Ianthe in the beginning of the second one, because she plans out this gigantic elaborate wedding for like you're talking a royal wedding, and then she just kind of, you know, goes off with Reese, and then it's like, but then you realize how terrible she actually is. And yeah,
well, she
didn't get lost.
That Farrah said, like, she's like, I don't want red roses. I don't know if she said she didn't like the dress, but
she was totally doing her own thing.
Yeah, she walked to Tamlin and showed him this monstrosity of a dress. She's like, look at what I have to wear.
Well, she does say that, but then I think Ianthe is like, well, this is what a wedding, you know, a wedding dress should be for this. So I think it's more like Ianthe talks her into that dress, and then Favor's like, whatever. She's so wrapped up in her trauma, she doesn't care. Right?
That's what she's like, not fighting anything. She's like, whatever you guys want, I'll be there. Yeah.
I also like how different the courts were, where like Tamlin is doing the tithes and all of these things, and Farrah's just like, oh, it's tradition. But then you go to Valaris and you're like, oh, none of that's going on.
Yeah. Well, Reese wasn't really raised in royalty like Tamlin was, right? Like he's a bastard son, so he was raised completely outside of that, and they have such a different culture that I think Tamlin's just kind of doing what his father did and what he has seen. So it makes sense that Reese would treat his kingdom differently, with more compassion, since he can read freaking minds of everyone.
Well, that's the thing though. Reese kind of went away from his forefathers, because wasn't his father like much harsher? So I feel like he kind of
they were terrible, right? Yeah.
He was a terrible person. Where Tamlin kind of stuck on his father's path, Reese built a different direction.
Yeah, Tamlin didn't really know that his dad was that terrible until he was actually like going to kill Reese's family, right?
Yeah,
like that's when he kind of had his aha moment where he's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even specify. They're like, Tamlin told them where they were going to be. So it's like, I feel like he knew what they were going to do when he told them, right? Like,
yeah.
Didn't Tamlin's family align with Hybern at some point? Wasn't that said? I thought
they were friends.
Well, that's what they were with Amarantha, like too. Yeah, before it all happened.
And that's the only reason why Tamlin wasn't in the Court of Nightmares, was because he was friends
with
Amarantha.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that just shows another flaw in Tamlin's character about like listening to the high priestess over everybody else. It just shows you, like, because the high priestess went with the dress and was like, this is what we need to do, you know? So yeah. Poor Tamlin.
Yeah, same Lizelle. I was like doing laundry listening to that, and I was like getting all teary-eyed. I'm like,
You guys cry on rereads?
Yeah. And
like I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, usually different parts will get me.
It depends on how invested I am. I don't really cry at anything, but like I will get like a little like, you know.
I was rereading The Crows. I was bawling, girl. I was bawling. So bad.
Oh,
The wings are supposed to be in Tamlin's. It's the mother and sister's wings.
Yeah, but they talk about it. I don't know if they talked about it in the second book yet, or if they.
I think it's
about
the third one.
in
Yeah,
the third. Yeah, when
but
she's back
Tamlin
there.
didn't know that the mother and sister were going to be killed. That's when he was like, "Oh, wait a second! I thought we were just killing the father," because that's so much better.
Oh, you mean Reese?
Yeah.
No, their father wasn't with them. It was
Yeah,
the
it
mom
was
and sister
supposed to be
coming to
Reese, the
visit
mom and
Reese
sister.
at
No, I
the
think
like
he's talking
Illyrian
about
camp.
when Reese and his dad went to their house, right?
Well, they only went there because the mom and sister were already killed.
Right.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that part. I forgot about that too. And on the reread,
The music, yes.
Yes.
That was a
Sweet.
good one.
And I like when she's walking through Valaris in the second one and she recognizes it like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that's why Reese is so good, because he doesn't like just tell her like, "Hey, I loved you all these times because I did this, this, and this." Like, she realizes it as she goes, and he's like kind of quiet about some of his things he did for her.
I like this comment because it's like, yes, Reese wanted peace. He wants everyone to be happy. He doesn't want war ever.
Me and you, girl.
And you know it's a good series when you can reread it and you know what's going to happen and you still cry.
Yeah.
Well, and I always feel differently about this too. Like sometimes I'm just like, Fairy, you're such a dummy. Like, stop it. Stop being a dummy.
What did you guys think of the Rune City scene? That's one of my favorite scenes in the second book, where they're using, or Farrah's sitting on Reese as like a distraction for whatever Moore's dad's named.
Yeah, I like that whole setup when they go under there.
It's
like,
great.
the little, yeah. When they're playing them. Because that's when her and him kind of start to like heat up, like, you know.
Yeah. And then I think they get into a fight like right after that. And
yeah, of course.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Oh, one other thing I was laughing about was like in the first one at the end, the answer to the riddle is love. But I like how at first she thought it was like typhus.
Yeah.
You know, the real twist to that is she literally said, like, who was it? The evil lady was like, it was just so loving. Or she literally said the answer as she was talking to her. And I'm like, say that.
Well, that's why sometimes I say, Barry, you're such a dummy. But honestly, she's real. Like, as human beings, we don't catch up on that stuff. So it just makes it more realistic to me.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
He better be if he can read her freaking mind.
We know Farrah is the stars for a reason and Nesta is the flame, but what about Elaine with the flowers?
It has to be the spring, right? Like, I don't know.
Maybe she can like make things grow.
Carrie, I think I was talking to you. I have an idea of what's going to happen with Elaine.
Yeah.
But I think it's a spoiler.
I know. It's like, what theories can I throw out here? Because I've got about 1 billion.
Yeah. Nightmare Court. I think Elaine is destined to be High Lady of Spring. Tamlin never wanted his position. Maybe he'll pass the torch to Lucian and he and Elaine will finally get together.
Ooh, I like that.
I was confused as I was like, wasn't she supposed to be Lucian and isn't he the Fall Court? Like, what do you mean spring? That makes sense. That makes sense.
Need to go and mute for that.
She does like to, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
I also like that was the plan he thought of. Like, you couldn't think of anything else besides like having Farrah sit on your lap.
Of course he thought of that. He's like wants his mate in skimpy clothes.
Like, this is vital.
Touch her. Like,
he's like, what way can I get her closest to me?
I really did like how he painted her though, and he's like, so I know that no one else can touch you.
Yeah.
Like,
That's smart. He's smart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why haven't we talked about Starfall? I'm like thinking of like, Starfall.
Okay, I completely forgot that Starfall is like spirits dying. So like dead spirits crashing into them. It definitely sounds grosser than I think about it.
I just like how they both got whacked. Like, it's just
Yeah.
so, like, fun into the book. She just was brilliant about that.
Well, and it's like one of the first times where they actually get to laugh and like let some tension go.
Yeah. Because he wasn't able to like do it under the mountain with Amarantha. I thought that was so sad. And he's just like watching his friends.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. She created some really good angst in this. 100%.
Agreed.
Oh, okay. I have so many notes for this too. Sorry. In the beginning of the second one, I feel like Tamlin is like a frustrated parent because Feyre is like in this new body and she's walking around like a toddler. She doesn't have any control over her powers, but yes, she wants to go kill monsters. He's like, girl, chill. Take some time to figure it out. Granted, he shouldn't have locked her in the thing, but still, I'm like, of course he doesn't want you out there killing monsters. You can barely like hone yourself right now.
Yeah, I agree. Nesta would rip him apart, like 100%. Sorry, I was reading this comment.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, they wouldn't
that
work.
would not work.
It's funny.
That's real funny.
That's why
How
Nesta
long is
needs Cassian.
How long
How
is
long
the
is it?
series supposed to be though? Like there are so many side
She's
characters.
dead.
Okay. It could be very long with how and like she just keeps on introducing more characters in the newer books. So
Right.
Well, I thought she said like 2 more books and a novella for the series.
That I heard the same thing, yeah. Originally, but I don't know if that's changed since then.
Yeah.
So it'd only be like 6 full books.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
You know what though? I don't believe her because at Throne of Glass, she said the Throne of Glass series was done, and now miraculously, maybe there's another book. I don't believe it.
There's
I
only
didn't know
another
that.
Throne of Glass?
Christy, didn't they say that she's going to be maybe coming back to that world?
Well, she said that like that's her like baby series. She loves that series so much, and so she said like she would like to revisit. Like she could see herself revisiting them, but she didn't say like for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard that she in the future she's going to be doing something.
I think that might tie into the end of Crescent City too, as well.
Right.
That series.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, does this happen in the graphic audios too? I can't remember. In the first audiobook of ACOTAR, they call him Resand, but in the second one, they call him Resand. Is there a reason for that, or is it
There's
just
a
like
lot of names that they changed from the first book to the second book in the original narration, like the Boggy and the Bog, Resend. I had like a list.
So this
Naga
happened
and the
with,
Naga?
it happened with J.R. Ward's series where they did the audiobooks without consulting the author on pronunciations. And then after a few books, they talked to the author and they're like, this is actually how you say it. So then they did it right for the rest of the books. So I'm assuming they didn't actually ask Sarah J. Maas how to say anything until the next one.
Okay,
Just
that would make
terrible.
sense.
Yeah.
It's like why wouldn't they do their
It's
homework?
dumb, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to
I
them.
I didn't notice that with the graphic audio. Are you guys talking about the regular?
I didn't
audio?
notice that either. Yeah.
It's the original audio, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think the third one has a different narrator for the original.
Oh, interesting.
I forgot how mean Cassian was to Nesta though when they first meet, because isn't when like they're sitting at dinner and Cassian is like, "You treated Farah terribly." And,
Yeah. Well, he's like super protective about Feyre, yeah.
I mean,
Which
he's a
makes
lot.
sense. I mean, any of us would be mad at her for how she's doing
Yeah.
her sister. Yeah.
I really love their dynamic though, of how like jokester Cassian is and how like rip throat Feyre is. I'm like, it just works. I don't know why.
Well, like you already get that tension from their relationship, like in those
Right.
books, in these books.
And he's the only one strong enough for her
Yeah.
mentally and physically.
And then his like wings are destroyed and he's still trying to crawl over there. That kills me
Yeah.
at the end of the second book.
Yeah.
Right.
But is Cassian really a sunshine? I don't know. Like he masks his I think
Yeah,
he
that's what I
just
was gonna
masks
say.
with humor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. More so than her, but yeah, he's not
Yeah.
total sunshine.
Agreed. 100. I would love to see this.
look, I'll eventually read those books. I feel like I've already read them because everyone talks about them so much. Like, I feel like I know what happens, so I'm not like running to read them.
But she needs to finish these two before doing anything with
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Finish these.
That's just gonna,
Don't
gonna
go
go
back
walk
to
up to
Jen's
Sarah
glass
J.
yet.
Maas and be
Like,
like,
if she goes through her glass before ACOTAR is finished.
yeah, I
Come
would
on.
write in the streets too, girl.
True.
Yeah, I agree with this. I think like out of
Yeah.
all of them, it's probably
Yeah.
Cassian.
Yeah.
The most lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amryn, we still don't know what Amryn is, right? Up until, well, do we ever really find out?
Sort of.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
She's like something very old.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to say too much because I'm like, I
Well,
don't
they
wanna
talk
get
about her in the
spoiled away.
second. Reese talks about her to Feyre in the second book, like before they go to the prison.
Yeah.
And so he kind of talks about like, yeah.
Oh, there is one thing, because there was one thing that I think was asked was that what are things you noticed in the second time you read it or whatever? Like, what is something you picked up that you didn't pick up the first time and you read it the second time? I didn't realize that Jurian, what was it? Draken and what is her name? They're like who is it?
Marion?
Marion. I didn't realize their original story was in book 2 because I was trying to find it for the longest time in book 3, and I'm like, oh, that's in book 2. So then I finally figured out what started the whole conflict with those 3, which I feel like they should have got a story.
I think we might get more of it in like upcoming books, but I completely missed the whole ring thing when I was first reading this. Like on the second time, I was like, what ring are they talking about? So then I had to go back and look.
Right.
Rereading ACOTAR, and since it was so short, I did appreciate how like fast paced it was, and there wasn't too much world building yet, because like I remember a lot of slow parts, especially in book 3, where it's just like sitting around, lots of politics, and like because there's so many more like of the courts involved and all those people. So ACOTAR was nice. It was just like, well, now she's here, and now she's doing this, and I was like, okay, like we're just going along, and like not too many like slow parts in the first book, which I liked.
And the second book too. I feel like the second book, there's a little bit more like focus on her healing in the beginning, but still the pacing in that is like pretty quick. And you have the romance, which makes it go by faster, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, one of
Book
the things
3
I
is
like that Sarah did is you learned about the court when she visited it. It wasn't like a bunch of info dumping, like there's a court here, there's court here. Like, no, like you learned about it when you went there. And I like that. She did well with that.
Yeah, because we're learning with Feyre as she learns.
Right.
Which
Agreed.
is easier for me for fantasy. If it's someone new to the world, like you're discovering it with them.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
I like that too.
I catch on better.
It's when you get to Crescent City and she tells you all the courts. You're like, what is happening?
Because I feel like Throne of Glass, you kind of discover it with the character too. It's not as
It is like that.
dumpy.
Yes, it's exactly
There's
like
a lot of info dumping in Crescent City.
So much.
But I do love it.
that. Yeah, I mean, Crescent City's great.
It didn't bother me at all for some reason. I was like, okay, cool. I think she explains it so well, though. It doesn't feel like an educational novel or anything like that.
Right,
Like I just like I was with it. I was like, okay, all right.
The end of book 1 of Crescent City, I absolutely love. But the beginning, I had trouble getting through it.
Like
that would have been interesting.
you were as Tamlin and Lucian?
Yeah.
I can see that if you like had only read the first book and you just see Feyre with those two at first,
Yeah.
I thought Feyre
Although,
was
yeah.
going to date Lucian at one point. Like, I thought there was going to be like a jealousy thing between them when I first read it.
I never got those vibes from Lucian that he was like feeling more for Feyre.
He's like a brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like technically it is.
I'd be okay with that.
Just make sure we're not spoiling any of
Yeah,
this.
so I was like, I don't want to say much because it's.
I was spoiled for the end of 2, and I think it definitely ruined the experience for me.
Oh,
I hate that. Yeah.
I mean, I took a year to read it, so I mean, like, to be fair, I took forever to read it. So
I think I took
But
as long as
still.
you, and but Christy was like, Carrie, stop what you're doing and read it. You're gonna get spoiled. And I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I read it the day it came out, so I wouldn't get spoiled. Like I spent all
Yeah.
day. I finished it at like 2 a.m.
See,
I'm
I
shocked I haven't been spoiled yet, but I don't know. I think I just actively like scroll through those things.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with this. As soon as
Me
Reese
too.
was introduced, I was like, yes, I'm all about
Yeah.
that.
Same.
I was in from page 1. Like
Which is really funny because Reese isn't likable in the first book until like the very end. And even then he's not like super likable until that last scene.
he's not likable at all. Like he sends her away. Like he calls her names and he's terrible. His only redeeming thing is when he actually heals her while she's in the cell and nobody else
he's the
comes.
villain.
But
Like,
he's a villain.
everybody loves the villain.
He is. He's a
So-
sexy villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
best
exactly.
anti-hero or anti-villain or however they say anti-hero I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, he's so different than Tamlin that it's just like an interesting dynamic as soon as he like starts interacting with her.
Right. But he plays into the facade. Like he even said it himself. Everybody's gonna love a Tamlin. Everybody's gonna love the king of the summer court or whoever that is. Or yeah. But everybody's always gonna view me as the villain. So I'm just gonna play into that.
Yeah. Everyone needs a villain, so I'm just gonna be it.
Yeah.
Yes. The music in the cell is just
Which like you get to hear the music and the graphic audio, which was really
Yes,
Oh.
that is cool.
I wonder
Okay.
how much they consulted her though on that. Like for Sarah, did they ask her like what would the music sound like? And like, is this, I don't know how much control she had over
Yeah.
it.
They put a lot of music in there though. I was shocked. Like for scenes, like they would have music for like the whole thing. So it was interesting.
I love this part, but also like I can't believe he did that because at this point she's barely been training, and it's just like go to the Weaver's cottage, and I think
Okay,
He
what
definitely
was-
tests her.
what was grosser though, the Weaver's cottage or the wormhole thing that she had to go through? Like which one's
I
worse?
think the Weaver's cottage with like
The cottage,
oil and hair.
Oh, she's going up the chimney thing, and it's
Yeah.
like no,
The
sticking to her.
grease and the hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nasty. But I'm like,
Although
I'm
I
curious
did
about all the other stuff
identify
in that room.
very well with the Weaver because I'm like, who is entering my house and stealing my stuff? Like, get out of here. I'm just trying to sit here and sing a song. Leave me alone.
True.
As she eats people.
She eats people.
Listen,
Okay,
she
but
has
like
to
the
eat,
mud-
okay?
The mud was like remnants of human bodies, and she'd like rub it all over herself. I mean, that's gross.
It's gross. It's gross.
Honestly, though, like when she caught the cereal the second time, that was such a great twist.
Yeah, I love that.
Gosh. Wait a second. Oh no, I'm gonna have him tell me.
So when I first read this, I didn't catch the word mate in what the cereal said at first either. So when she goes back and goes, wait, mate, what are you talking about, mate? Like I actually felt that way too. I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
So I kind of agree with this a little bit because I think I heard like Reese doing some sort of speech, and I was like, I don't love this, but I am interested in like the more emotional scenes.
She does, okay.
Girls gotta eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the cereal. I should have got that shirt and this one, but I was like, I love the cereal.
Yeah, but the bone carver's pretty dang cool too. I mean, his character.
Yes.
I
I like that
remember
he's
more
more
about
up
him.
as something different for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
You learn more about him in book 3, but
I
mean,
stopped myself.
her
from talking to
monsters.
book 3.
Yeah, the monsters are great in this. I think
She
that's one of the
makes
things
it-
I like most about it. The Naga, the bog, like all the
Mhm.
things that she's trying to kill or even befriend in some of them.
Yeah, her monsters are incredible. She really put some thought into that because you can't have good heroes without villains.
And they're different. Like you don't see them in any other book or anything. They like, I don't know.
Right.
I agree.
I mean, make them
Where do you
cool
guys-
enough.
Where do you guys get your like ACOTAR merch from? Because I know you were talking about that in the.
This one, the Bone Carver one, is from Coffee and Curses. She just came out with this one like a week or 2 ago.
On
So
Etsy.
that's where I got mine.
Yeah.
Mine's from Etsy. I have a few different shops that I check out.
Yeah.
Are they all licensed? Because isn't she really like adamant about that? Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other shops that make stuff that don't get her permission and then they get taken down, but
Yeah, this one's licensed, and I think I said Caffeine and Curses.
okay.
And they're like band tees is what the whole thing is. Like there's like a Starfall band like tour type of thing shirt, and then there's one that says Bat Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
There's some really good merch out there now. I'm just like, my wardrobe. Yes.
There's some I really like though that literally like sells out when it's listed. So you have to like find out about it and make sure you know and not see it after it's already released.
And I don't buy a lot, but this one I was just like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever bought fan art, and I really should because there are a lot of prints I really like.
Yeah, I only get them like if they're with book boxes or random things.
Same.
Oh, the inserts. That's the one I want. Those vellum inserts for the
inserts?
books.
Oh, I got
Yes.
those. Those are super cute.
Did you get those? Those are
I
cute.
did. I'm like, how can I get them down? You guys want to see them?
My thing is I never read books physically, so like I would never use them, but they're also gorgeous, so I kind of want them.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's what I wanted them, but I was like, when am I going to open the book to look at this?
Don't mind me, guys. Oops.
I have the mismatched books problem. I have like the hard copy, and then this is the only one I have the paperback of. So I'm like, I can't get the whole set. I would need 2.
I have the Nerdy Ink version.
I love those.
They have
I have
so
the
many
Dusty
pretty
Shop.
dust jackets.
And then I
those are
have
so cute.
the Illuma crate.
Those are so pretty.
Mine are triple triple
They're all
sleeves.
so good.
All right, here's one of them, guys, if you could see it. Wait.
Oh my gosh.
Like they're so
Yeah.
good. I want
need
those
them.
so bad.
And then, wait, hold on. I got for both books, but I haven't put in my second books yet for those. Oh, here's one.
Where were
I
those
mean-
from again?
Oh, gosh. I promise I'll get it to you guys. I forget.
I know I
Look.
follow them, but I can't remember the name right now.
Yeah.
Idol something.
pretty.
Gosh, this is me with like book names, like Jess.
Yeah.
Like I just can't.
Shop names are bad for me too.
I promise I'll put it in the comments after the live's over, guys. So you guys, if you want them, you could track down this. Oh, look at, I think this is when she throws the thing at the bone carver or the, what's her name? The evil lady.
Amarantha.
Amarantha?
Yeah, she throws the
Yeah.
bone at Amarantha.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's so many good scenes in that second book.
And then
Mhm.
McKay made me this. So I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like,
That
I
matches
was
my
like-
shirt today.
I know it's so funny. I mean, I have a shirt on, but you guys can't see it because it's literally like
Wait.
black ink. Make
Are
sure
we
you
all
Yeah.
wearing ACOTAR shirts?
I'm not. I'm just-
But you're wearing a cute Mickey shirt, so that counts.
I forgot I had this. I got it so long ago, but my key ring is
Oh.
Dolores.
Aw.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was like from an Australian shop. I can't remember. Reed was something.
I think I have a pin of that came with one of my books, like that same design.
Yeah.
Yeah, theirs are pretty. Like
feel
all
like
the
I-
editions are so pretty.
Yeah. I have so much ACOTAR stuff. That's probably like the most merch I have for a series is ACOTAR.
Right. which is okay because if it's your favorite, then that's totally justified.
You guys like for the original ones, do you like the newer covers over these ones? Which ones?
Oh, I like
the original
covers.
I don't like the new covers.
Yeah, same.
The new covers grew on me. Like the spines next to each other are pretty. Like with those, I like.
Yeah,
but I ended up printing out. Someone had like a free of for book 4 to match the original 3. I ended up getting that printed out and have that as a dust jacket on book 4 to match.
I love that. Yeah.
I have to admit, I like her Crescent City covers a lot better than I liked her newer Throne of Glass covers.
Me too. There's a lot going on them. The art's really pretty.
Right. She killed it on that art.
I will say though, like at least they're trying to make it look adult.
Right.
Like the fact that these are always shelved under YA, especially once you get to like book 4, like at least they're looking more their genre.
Right. They're in the right spot.
I just think it's funny that still today, like they're still in young adult. Like I was in Barnes and Noble during that hardback sale, and all of the books were in young adult.
Mine were in adult.
Yeah.
I think my Barnes and Noble does a really good job with that, honestly. Like I see like other books that are usually shelved in YA in other stores, like in adult in mine.
That's good.
Yeah, I own them too, but I still like the original.
So do you have multiple copies?
I was just gonna ask, do you have the original copies too?
I have 4 sets.
Oh my gosh.
Because I have the original paperback, I have the original hardback, and then I have the new set, but then I bought another new set so I could put the Nerdy Ink dust jackets on it.
I just have the old one and the new one in hardback. That's all I have. I don't want to touch my old ones because you can't replace them.
Yeah, this is like the original paperback is like, apparently I tabbed this one. I never remembered that I did. And I don't remember why I tabbed any of the things I tabbed in this because I didn't write notes or anything. It's just have a tab somewhere.
I did see the new Throne of Glass ones at Barnes and Noble too. And even Crescent City just got new ones, which they're pretty, but like I hate the blurb that they put on it to describe the series. They're like, Game of Thrones meets Buffy Vampire the Slayers meets 50 Shades. And I'm like,
That's
can we not? None of that. Like
it's none of those though.
I know. But that's how they have
Buffy?
it blurbed. Yeah. And I'm like, let's not do that.
50 Shades?
Yes.
It's like not even one. There's one sex scene in book 1.
Yeah, that's what they have them blurbed as, both Crescent City books on the front.
But it's not even a sex scene, really. They don't even do anything, right?
No, right. Like,
was anyone shocked though going from Crescent City and then A Court of Silver Flames, because Crescent City had like nothing in terms of spice, and then you go to A Court of Silver Flames and it's just like,
it's very spicy.
It's so
You
spicy.
know what I think about though? Honestly, I think about Sarah drinking a glass of wine and her just going at it for A Court of Silver Flames, and then her being actually in her author's chair when she's doing like Crescent City. You know what I mean? It's like,
didn't she cut certain scenes too?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. I don't remember what they were, but I remember being like, that would have been really good if you kept that in there.
She always was a romance writer, but they wanted to keep her in a box of YA. And
Yeah.
I really hate how they're like, there is no new adult. And I was like, new adult is absolutely a genre. So
right.
Agreed.
It is online, just not in like bookstores. Yeah.
Well, they had to catch up because I feel like they're starting to put it out there now because they're going to fall behind.
Well, and honestly, like I'm a newer reader. Like I didn't really start reading until 2018. So when I heard young adult, I thought like 13 to 18 because at 18 you're an adult. So I think of adult as like 18 to whatever. And so when you see like 20-year-old characters in young adult, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. New adult really started to like blow up though, like with when Colleen Hoover was first starting to write, and like the K.A. Tucker and the Samantha Young. Like it's been a genre for a very long time.
Yeah, it definitely needs its own category.
Yeah. They just refuse to do that. So they either put it in YA where it's not appropriate, or adult where it's like, but it's not really adult either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to pretend it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember. It was like a multi-partner scene that was going to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of glad that she removed that because to me, that doesn't seem like right for this story.
I would have liked it.
I would be fine with it. Don't. I would be fine with it, but it just feels like more of like the fated mates type of story.
But I could see it working in the beginning when she's like not at that point in her life yet, you know?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, same.
know.
Female fantasy authors, they do that. They don't put them in adult fantasy.
I'm a
Not
girl.
because many of them write with initials.
Yeah.
Like their author name.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a girl of simple taste. I like a 1 and a 2. But yeah, if Nesta ended up being with 2 different Valerians that we didn't know at all, then I guess it would have worked. I mean, especially what would happen if Az ended up being with her sister or something. I don't know. That's not a spoiler. I don't even know if that's
the messier the better. That's what I say. So
I mean, I've read plenty of books where they're
they're friends. Like I'm thinking
exactly.
the series. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
And just like what Samantha says, more people, more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like with how close they are, I think they would be fine and be adult about it afterwards. Like nobody would be,
like hurt because then the other person wouldn't have been like in love with Nesta.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I agree with this so wholeheartedly.
Like he can have some fun too before.
Does Azrael know what fun is?
All the fun.
I feel like Azrael doesn't even know what fun is. He's so serious all the time.
He had a rough life. He's had
in love with one little fae forever. He's been in love with more for like
500 years or something.
Right. It's been a long time.
What do you guys think in terms of Eris and more? That's book 2, right? That we learn more story.
We learn the backstory.
The
Kind
backstory.
of.
Right.
Do you think there's more to Eris? Like,
yes.
Knowing Sarah J. Maas, there is, but I'm like,
I don't know how much I could say. I don't want to spoil anything. Like, honestly, I'm trying to be so good.
Cassie and Nesta.
Yeah.
well, I sure hope so. I sure hope he does.
Yeah. He seems like he would be a good double agent.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm like, where's my notes?
I honestly am not looking forward to reading that Court of Frost and Poop story again.
I am because I want to see if it's as bad as I remember when I read it because I was so annoyed the entire time I was reading it.
It made me not like Reese and Feyre, and I'm like, I don't like this feeling.
Agreed.
It's so annoying.
See, I liked it because I didn't love it, but I liked it enough because I wasn't ready to let them go after the, original trilogy. So like when I read it, that was a little bit like another little epilogue of them, but it definitely could have just been an epilogue with ACOTAR.
Yeah.
But isn't it always like this is like
to like Silver Flames? Like, didn't it like drop some things of like what was going to happen in Silver Flames?
I think it sets up Silver Flames pretty well.
Yeah,
right. That's what I thought too. If you take out Reese and Feyre,
I read that only for the scene that sets up that. That's it.
Which I just feel like Sarah, like novellas are not her strong suit, which is fine. Like I don't enjoy any of her novellas, even the Throne of Glass ones. Like she can just write great long books.
Right.
There are people that loved it. One of my good friends, like she absolutely loved the novella.
Well, see, now I know because I always heard that it was like a book for lip service to the fans. And I'm like, what fans?
See, this was the problem though. We loved it because we had to wait so flippin' long for the next one. So we would take anything we could get because it's literally another decade before we get the next book. So I was like, okay, we'll take it.
But it also doesn't feel like she wrote it.
You don't think it seems like she wrote it?
It doesn't feel like one of her books.
I think she did it for the money.
Oh, 100%.
Probably.
That's why she recovers her books every 10 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
Did it really
That's how I
lay
am.
groundwork for the spin-off trilogy though? Like, I didn't see anything necessary behind it.
I think she was just giving us teasers.
It just gives you like little extra moments with him, which like didn't add anything to a plot or story though.
Yeah.
And like that could have just been slapped at the end of ACOWAR and like call it a day.
I
It's
mean,
Or like
so
they
much
were
shopping.
releasing the paperback, like add that to the end as like bonus content.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just remove it altogether, and then you could go straight into Court of Silver Flames.
But I do think the original cover for it is like the prettiest in the original series.
It was cute. I got rid of it.
It
made me angry. It made me angry.
Is it long? How long is it? I thought it was. It's like
It's not that long.
3-hour.
No, it's not.
It's not
pretty
that long.
short.
I would just say it's a novella. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Pulls out his out.
She's got it right there.
Well, why is it nuts? How funny. I'm like, oh, there we go. It's like 230 pages.
Yeah, so it's pretty short.
Yeah.
You definitely see this. Like, you definitely see how much of a mess she is after ACOWAR.
Everything that, yeah.
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 I'm excited to read ACOWAR, though, even though it is so much politics. I love the Fae politics, but
I
it's
forgot
also
how
the
much I
big
love
word.
ACOWAR. I'm almost finished. And honestly, like, I love that book. There's so many good scenes in ACOWAR.
There is, yeah.
You could tell she had fun writing it. And that's what I love. When an author has time, they have fun writing the book. We had fun reading it. It just, you could tell. She, even though Throne of Glass was her baby, she had a blast writing this series.
I could see this too.
Yeah.
This is my experience. I could not stand Feyre and Reese by the end.
Yeah. And Reese is kind of a jerk in Silver Flames, like, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, you get it from Nesta's point of view. So of course he is. You know, she doesn't like him.
Yeah.
True.
Ooh, ACOWAR is your favorite.
Yeah,
Interesting.
ACOWAR's like a really close second for me.
I just think nothing can top ACOMAF. Like,
Same.
nothing can top that.
Like, it's so perfect.
So funny. I just did my Sarah J. Maas bracket, and it was literally ACOMAF and then ACOWAR. Like, 1 and 2.
I tried doing that. I don't understand TikTok. I like
Yeah, I don't have TikTok, so I can't do it.
Oh, I've got my 3 fans. I'm so excited.
TikTok is not one I can get on board with yet. It's just goes, it's too
Yeah.
overwhelming for me.
yeah.
Well, I flat out copied Jessica. I was like, this is so much fun. I can't believe
Their
it.
bracket things are fun to do.
Oh, yeah. I'm literally going to have like 600 brackets on my thing by the time I'm done.
Same. That's for me too. Those two are my favorites.
I love A Court of Silver Flames.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the stairs is so good. Like in that, like where she's trying to go up and down those stairs.
Oh my gosh. I think the stairs was the one thing that I was just like, no, because she had to go down the stairs.
Yes,
I
down the
would
stairs.
understand if she was going up the stairs, but I always send Christy this meme about a guy sliding down the stairs.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like,
Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of that book, but that was the one part I was just like, why? Like, it doesn't seem hard. I don't know. Okay, sorry.
You get a piece of
I
cardboard
love-
and then you just sit on it.
A lot more emotion and trauma in that book, though.
Yeah,
So
Yes,
yeah.
there
that's
is.
what the stairs
Yeah,
was.
there is. It was just my one pet peeve was just like, oh, I don't
I have a
find
lot of
this
pet
difficult.
peeves about that book, but we can talk about
What?
them later.
What? Oh no.
Well, some of us are
this
going to
life
read
is gonna
Court
be-
of Silver Flames
Yeah.
for the next month. Let's see.
I did like that.
Which, I mean, Sarah has said she loves those older like fantasies like that too, so it makes sense. Her inspirations.
It was reminding me of like even Brandon Sanderson, like the what is it, the Stormlight Archives type of war books.
But she just knows how to write. Like she just gets you, you know?
She writes action very well.
Well, even like trauma and like PTSD, she writes really well. She lets them have that time, like without like just bouncing past it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this was one of the first books, ACOMAF, that really like was tackling a character that is dealing with PTSD. And I think she did a really good job.
Yeah.
Right. But I think Sarah writes what she feels too, because I feel like some of the times where like if she's feeling like her depression, she'll write that character as being depressed. And I think that that's really, she does it so well. I mean, I don't want her to be depressed, but like the way she like inputs that into the character is just genius.
Yeah, she can add her personal experience to characters.
Did you guys catch that Tamlin was struggling too with like PTSD stuff? Because I didn't, my husband did. And
Right,
he was like,
I
Tamlin's
did.
also hurt. And I was like, I totally missed that he was like having nightmares and having any struggles as well.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so interesting that he would just let her throw up. Like she would just be throwing up in the bathroom and he'd be like, "You're good."
Well,
like
there's no way that he did not hear her throwing up, but I
Right,
think he couldn't
okay.
deal with his own trauma, so he just is trying to ignore it.
right.
And
Yeah.
I think he more so gives Farah space.
Yes.
And almost too much space. Like, but
Mhm.
also, yes, he's dealing with the trauma in his own way by protecting his kingdom. He's out all the time patrolling and he's got it, you know, all these wards in the place all the time.
Yeah.
But
And he's like worried about losing her and stuff. Yeah.
Right. He's choosing the space he wants to give her. He's going to give her space when she needs someone, but then he's going to lock her up when she needs to be out. It's like, yeah, a bunch of bad decisions, like Christy said.
Yeah.
Are we reading? I think most of us are. Jess, are you reading A Court of Silver Flames?
If I can get to it.
Okay. Yeah, we will talk about it on the live show because I know at least 4 of us are.
I mean, I've read it before, and that was the most
Yeah.
recent one I've read.
Yeah.
Is there an audiobook out for it? Because I haven't seen one.
There is.
Okay, I'll have to get it somewhere.
I almost never read books physically, so if I'm reading it, there is probably an audio.
It's on Hoopla if you guys have, or Libby, or.
I need to fix my Hoopla. I can't check out any books for some reason.
Oh man.
Aw. It's good to hear.
I have anxiety too, so it's like reading some of those scenes is really hard for me because I definitely have to put them down a lot. So, but I think Sarah focuses so much on healing as well that it makes it a little bit easier to read.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Also agree with this comment. Tamlin is a voider, which wasn't what Farah needed at the time.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I liked Tamlin a little bit more on my reread because I remembered him just being completely the worst, but he was also going through it.
And he's shut off. He's totally shut off. Even when they're intimate with each other, it's more mechanical and there's no emotions. Like there's just nothing.
Right.
I just thought it was really interesting at the end of book 1 where Reese was actually like fighting to save Feyre, where Tamlin was like banging on his knees, which is totally like, I know this is totally off topic, but I was just like, it just shows the difference of personalities of like who they are, where one is going to fight to the death for you and the other is just going to sit by and hope that everything turns out okay. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the graphic audios.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those series you can just keep rereading and still enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah. There's very few books that I'll reread in a year, and she's always going to be one of them.
I know when you joined, you're like, I'm on book 2. I'm like, you literally said you were starting your reread yesterday.
Yeah. Sarah's my girl. Like, even though I throw out shade sometimes, Sarah is my girl. I'll go to bat for her.
It's these ones and the Bridge Kingdom ones. I've reread like 2 or 3 times. The Bridge Kingdom ones too. I love those audiobooks.
Great. That is a great rec.
I have to finish that. I haven't read the third book.
I'm going to start that series, I think, next month.
The series.
I'm waiting till book 4 comes out to read book 3.
I honestly didn't think the couple in the third book would stand up to Laura and Aaron, but they do for me. They absolutely do for me. I loved that book. But I'm also very easy to please, so I don't know.
I hope Tamlin gets redemption.
She said she wouldn't.
Oh my gosh. Like,
Sarah said she wouldn't redeem him. I mean, like, he's kind of based off of her like ex-boyfriend and stuff who was a bit toxic, so I don't think she would. But I feel like she could. I feel like she could do it because she's just like a great writer. She could bring him back, but I know she said she won't.
I feel like the novella kind of showed him like suffering and like that. It almost felt like a setup for him to be redeemed. From what I remember, it's been forever.
She's got 2 options. You either redeem him or you kill him. Like, literally, those are my 2.
And I'm fine with either.
Well, like, just let him go off and be like in the distance, and we don't have to hear about him anymore. Like, he's not getting involved on the wrong side. Like just let him go.
That's what I mean. That you need to off him.
I have to finish one before starting another.
So
I
usually choose like that's why I do fantasy and historical romance. Like I'll have one on audiobook and one physical, so that way they don't really cross over too much. So
yes.
I have to be real. I don't do this. I finish one at a time because I can't, because I'll start mixing up worlds.
I read them. Like I was reading Between Wrath and Mercy when I was doing the ACOTAR rereads, but Between Wrath and Mercy I was doing like on my Kindle, and these I was doing audio. And then like right now I'm on Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. So like I was overlapping fantasies, but one was audio, one was Kindle. But like I do that a lot, even with like historicals and
you read about 600 books a year, girl. You blow my mind with some of your reading. So you could totally, you are good at that.
So that's why I just think it depends, on the reader.
Yeah.
And I don't finish series, so I just jump around.
I don't know how you do that. Like I can't. Once I start a series, I have to finish it.
Same, yeah.
I'm like, well, I've read one, so now I need to go read a different book because then I feel like the series all counts as one book in my mind. Like I can't recommend like
I can't binge read series usually. Like I just get too like over it.
I love a binge.
Same.
I need like a break. Like let me give me like 2-3 book break and then I'll jump into it.
You kind of have.
Or sometimes I get sucked in like those stupid dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Just because you
I have to talk about those next week in my wrap up, and I'm not excited about it.
Sorry. You had to kind of be like that where you couldn't finish series because you had arcs due and things like that. So you had to like place them just right. Right?
for me.
Yeah.
No.
She just likes to jump around.
Black book like 2 years ago and never continued. So I just like.
Well, sometimes it takes so long for the next book that you forget, and you're like, I'm just not.
Yeah.
I don't feel
That's
like
what frustrates me is when like I read a book and then it takes like 2 years for the next one.
But also, there's so many characters that she needs to write books for. I don't know if I want her to waste one on Tamlin. Like,
same. Maybe it could be like a little side thing.
Yeah, like a Tamlin novella, I'd be fine with.
Yeah.
I would also
like
love a book from
Lucian
for more.
Yes.
More, yeah.
More needs a book.
Oh,
Yeah.
more would be.
I do not think Tamlin and Elaine would know.
I 100% think this. I agree with this.
No.
I don't want to see that.
No. Elaine needs someone's better than that.
That's what I was like, Elaine deserves better, yeah.
Although, even if I don't want it, I'll still read it. I think that's the hook that Sarah J. Maas has in me.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. If she writes it, I'll read it. Doesn't matter.
Binger. Yeah.
I just feel like there's another character that hasn't been introduced yet, so I won't mention them, but I'm just going to mention them like that will be in play.
Yes, 100% if we're thinking of the same character.
I think we are.
Okay.
I think so.
Read my mind.
I think we talked about it, but yeah, I think that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a toxic relationship.
But they're down for it.
I've also heard of Elaine being like getting a villain arc. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
That would be amazing if she turned Elaine into a villain. I would not see that coming.
What would she be like, Poison Ivy from Batman or something?
Yeah, I know.
Or she just like flips a switch because she just goes like mad or whatever because they're seeing a bit. Oh, gosh.
See, this is the problem. We can't read the third book before the live show because I think we all just did that.
Sorry. My bad.
All right. Are there any other scenes or anything we want to talk about?
Nope.
I'm good.
Okay.
I just feel like I'm going to ruin a thing. So if I keep going, I'm going to start spoiling all sorts of stuff.
All right. So our next live show is going to be on Sam Reads a Little's channel. And for A Quart of Silver Flames, A Quart of Wings and Ruin, and then A Quart of Frost and Starlight. So that'll be fun.
We're doing all three together on that one?
I figured, and that way we'll just save A Quart of Silver Flames for like the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way, if anyone didn't read it or doesn't want to read it, they can just pop off.
Okay.
But all right. Thanks for coming on, guys. Bye.
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 Bye.